Mubarak, Juma Mubarak, Juma Mubarak. It's Friday, this is the best day. Juma Mubarak, Juma Mubarak, Juma. Up in the morning, got the special Friday feeling. Getting ready in my best clothes now. My Juba looking crisp, going all out. Jumping my ride to the masjid. Hearing the khutbah, it's a blessing. Now we're standing in the sun and we're praying.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to another episode of Jumaat Tonic on the African Portal Radio TV. I remain yours, Abdurrahman bin Abdul Karim, ABDUL-MUMIN. Welcome to the African Portal.
Thank you, Allah. Thank you for this day. Juma Mubarak. Juma Mubarak. Juma Mubarak. It's Friday.
I greet our viewers, our listeners all over the world with a sincere greeting by saying, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May the peace and blessing of Allah be upon you all. This is Jumat. Then we greet you, we welcome you as also we are moving closer towards Ramadan, where all Muslims in the world will be fasting for this year Ramadan. Happy Ramadan in advance. May Allah make it as an act of ibadah for us. Inshallah, bikratullah.
Thank you, Allah. Thank you for this day. Juma Mubarak. Juma Mubarak. Juma Mubarak. It is Friday. This is the best day. Juma Mubarak.
If you are just joining us, this is Jumaat Tonic live on the African Portal Radio TV International, South Africa. We welcome you all. This is where we educate our Muslims, brothers and sisters, and non-Muslim brothers and sisters about the religion of Islam. You can get more information. You can learn new things here. You can understand the basic rudiment of Islam, what you ought to know about Islam. This is where you can understand it. This is where you can get it right. Kindly join us on our Facebook page, the African Portal, or on our YouTube page, that is the African Portal Media House. You can also join us on our website, that is the www.theafricanportal.co.za. That is where you can watch us live now, as we'll be having an interesting topic to discuss today. And our guest is also right there with us online to discuss a very important topic today. If you look at our posters online on our Facebook page, you will see either we have mentioned what we are going to discuss there. That is Muslim women. That is women in Islam, oppression or liberation. That is the topic for today. Women in Islam, oppression or liberation. That is what we will be discussing today. And we have our guest speaker that will be introduced to us as time goes on.
Wrong when almost every single song has sex as its basis. When rap stars get famous after making lyrics that are shameless. When a woman's expected to sleep with a man who doesn't even know what her name is. And when artists are paid to to the point they are no more than pieces of plastic that we can dispose of once they are no longer attractive. It's sickening and sadistic that this world's become so misogynistic. And you can call me unrealistic, but just listen to the statistics. 7 in 10 men view porn, while over 75 million are addicted. 68 million requests a day for pornographic pictures, making 1 in 4 searches sexually related. It's like nobody even knew she existed until she got naked, degraded and abused over and over again just to gain millions of views. It's a shame we've subdued to a definition of beauty which is so misconstrued as we judge each other's looks off of Facebook likes. Instagram pictures to filter off what we really look like. See, we are so obsessed with our outside, we have slowly lost sight of who we really are in real life. I mean, it's sad to see so many teens lose their self-esteem. Looking at these magazines thinking they have to look like what they see. Please, you are worth much more than a 2D image on a screen. You are a living, breathing human being. If only you knew what you really mean. Just look in your history books and begin to read. Of all the girls in the world who are capable to achieve, and you will surely see with certainty, females like Fatima al-Fihri, who opened the first ever university, Rufayda al-Islamiyya, the first nurse to perform surgery, and Aisha bint Abi Bakr, the greatest female scholar in eternity. It's a shame you probably haven't even heard of these great female prodigies. Honestly, we don't need to give up our modesty in order to be successful. For you are worth much more than a commodity that is sexual. You have so much more potential if only you knew your worth. You could be like the greatest of all women to have walked this earth, like Mary, the mother of Jesus, chosen by Allah to be an example for the believers, a woman who stood strong even when she was abused, falsely accused and ridiculed for things she'd never ever do, so it didn't really matter when there was nobody else beside her, for she knew that God.
Alhamdulillah, that was a spoken word. Yeah, inshallah. The topic to be discussed today is women in Islam. You can hear the spoken word being described by one of our artists related to the women in Islam. We need our women in Islam. What does Islam say about them? What does West what do they say about women in Islam? Are they being oppressed or they are being liberated? These are the words we want to discuss today. We want to know, are women in Islam? What does Islam say about them? What Allah said about women in Islam? That is why we are going to be engaging our father, our sheikh, our ustaz, then our doctor in person of Dr. ABDUL-MUMIN, ALAWIYE, who also a researcher and a member of SHARIAH of FATWAH Committee, SAKI West Muslim Community, SAKI Oyo State, Nigeria. So that's our guest for today, who will be discussing about women in Islam, oppression or liberation. Can we also welcome our guest lecturer today to our show, Jumaat Tonic on the African Portal Radio TV International. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Doctor.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How are you today, sir?
I'm fine. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah. Can you help us to greet our people, our listeners and our viewers at home who are watching us and listening to us live now?
Viewers and listeners at home, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. As you have been given topic for some weeks ago, or should I say a month, or let me just say some weeks ago. So the topic given to you, sir, is women in Islam, oppression or liberation. What do you need to say about this? We want you to just enlighten us and give us the details about how women are being perceived, how women are being described in Islamic jurisprudence, and what Allah has said and the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam have said about women, and what is the standard, the yardstick of being a woman in Islam. Bismillah.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Falillahi alhamdu rabbi samawati wa rabbil ardi rabbil alamin. We give thanks to Almighty Allah. We beseech Him to shower His blessings and benedictions on the noble soul of our leader, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the liberator of the women, from all forms of oppression. May the essence of the blessings both with the country of the generality of the companions, the household of the Prophet, and the generality of the departed Muslims. My dear brothers and sisters in Islam, the topic in question is of paramount importance in the sense that we've been hearing a lot of issues concerning the fact that women are being oppressed in Islam. Meanwhile, the so-called feminists, those who are now struggling and campaigning for the liberation of women, so we realize that they don't understand the lessons and the guidelines of Islam. That's why they are trying to tarnish the image of Islam, because the position of women in prehistory was very, very abysmal, in the sense that in many human societies, women were considered like ordinary objects and properties. So they were not given their due right. But with the advent of Islam, the Holy Prophet Muhammad has made us realize the fact that there is no discrepancy and there is no discrimination between men and women. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the sole creator of the heavens and the earth, is the one who has created men and women so that they will be living together comfortably. And he has assigned every individual among the men and the women their assignment. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Holy Quran, he has made reference to the fact that he is the one who creates whatever he pleases. So in Surah to Surah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. الأرض يخلق ما يشاء يهب لمن يشاء إناثا ويهب لمن يشاء ذكورا أو يزودهم ذكرانا وإناثا ويجعل ما يشاء حكيما إنه عليم قدير. To Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the meaning is that to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala belongs the dominion of the heavens and the earth. He creates whatever he pleases. He grants females to whomever he pleases and males to whomever he pleases. Or he bestows both males and females, and he renders barren whoever he pleases. Verily, he is the all-knower and is able to do all things. Naturally, human beings are very weak and their knowledge is limited, because the West and the so-called feminists, they believe that in Islam, women are being maltreated, because when Islam says that they should remain at home, they should be taking care of the children, and the home management should be their primary assignment. They think that that is all, not knowing that they don't comprehend fully the message that Islam is trying to pass across. Because in many cultural settings, we realize that women were just considered as ordinary objects, as I've said, that even in their belief, sometimes the women will be offered as sacrifice to their pseudo-gods. We have the practice of the infanticide, which was very common in many women societies before the advent of Islam, including the Arabian Peninsula. They will bury the female children alive for the fear of poverty. They believe that the female child, what will she contribute to the economy of the family? That the female children cannot do what the male children do. But Islam has made us realize the fact that what the male children do, the female children too can do that. When we try to examine the life of the mother of Jesus Christ, Maryam, Imran, her father, he prayed to Allah to grant him a male child, so that that particular child will join the people who have been taking care of the house, the holy house of God in Jerusalem then, because they were all males. But Allah has shown us that what the females do, the male too can do that. At the end of the day, he blessed Imran with Maryam, the mother of Prophet Isa, Jesus Christ, as popularly called. So at the end of the day, because this man, that is the father of Maryam, has promised that he will offer that particular child to be to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, serving the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he had to fulfill the promise by asking her, despite the fact that she was born as a female, to join the men, the males who were taking care of the house of Allah at that particular moment, which at the end of the day, she also performed well like the male children. In Islam, we have a lot of things said about women. In fact, there is no religion that has even taken care of the females better than the religion of Islam. Because in some religions, they even believe that the female child or woman, they are just synonymous with Satan. That the issue of the Prophet Adam, when he ate the fruit, the forbidden fruit, that it was our great grandmother, Hawa, who has led him to committing that particular sin. Meanwhile, it wasn't like that. It is a misnomer, arrogating that malpractice to our great grandmother, Hawa. So it was born out of destiny, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has decreed that particular event will take place in the life of Adam together with his partner, Hawa. So in Islam, the Prophet ﷺ, even when in his farewell sermon, he had to emphasize the need to take proper care of the woman. And he even said in one of his sayings that the best among you Muslims is the one who always takes proper care of the wife, who is a female. So Islam has taken proper care of the female even before birth. We have females as daughters, females as wives, females as mothers, at every level. We now realize that the provision made for the daughters as females is very, very superb. In the sense that if anybody endowed blessed with a female child, the parents must have known that they have a lot of responsibilities over their neck. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to show the position of the women, so in the Holy Quran, in the firstly quoted, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that He creates females, so females even come before the males. So telling us that they are in the same level. Meanwhile, the feminists, they believe when they try to examine some of the aspects of Islamic law, particularly concerning the issue of inheritance, they believe that why should a daughter be given half of that of her son in the principle of inheritance, not knowing because of their parochial thought that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has reason for doing that. Because the Holy Quran that makes this provision is defined. is the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we realize that men are naturally made to be the heads of the family. Their responsibilities include feeding the family, the wife and the children. They should be working to do that. So therefore, while even if a male child collects maybe something in the inheritance, the amount collected, he can easily spend that even before that of the female, because the female is just a receiver, while the male is a giver. He will inherit from the property of the wife or of the husband if the husband dies. Meanwhile, in the pre-Islamic era, females were considered as part of the property to be inherited. So, to the extent that even a male child will marry the wife of his father, that is, who happened to be his stepmother. So, which was very, very bad. When Islam came with his Sharia, he had to prescribe that it is forbidden that our son should never marry the wife of his father. So now, giving the females this kind of honor. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made reference in many parts of the Quran, whereby the men and the women, they are in the same level. Talk of our ibadah. We observe salat, having believed in oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and messengership of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We pray, we fast, we give alms, we go on pilgrimage. All the rewards for all these acts of ibadah, there is no difference. They are the same. The rewards are the same before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Despite the fact that at that time, the women naturally have been created to be experiencing a kind of menstruation. So, during which they will not pray. So, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who has created them in such a way. That's why in some passage, in another passage of the Holy Quran, when some people who do not even know the thematic message contained in the verse of the Holy Quran, they will say, that they will now be referring to the superiority of the male or the men over the women. And the verse doesn't mean that. What it means is that when we consider the physique or the physical feature of the females, we realize that they are not the same like the men, because the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created them. So it is Islam that has made us believe that women, they are considered as a source of pleasure on this earth, even on the day of Al-Qiyamah, when we find ourselves in the paradisic home. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala count us among the companions of the paradise. The issue of the women or female children being subjugated to a lot of malpractices, so it's very, very, has been since time immemorial that in the Holy Quran, even in the Arab world, when they will be blessed, a family will be blessed with a female child, so we will think that is not a good thing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Holy Quran, Surah Int'L, chapter 16, verse وكثير يتورى من القول من سوء ما بشر به أيمسكه على هون أم يدوسه في تراب. The meaning is that when any one of them is given the good news of our daughter, his face grows. That is, his face grows dark after this news, and he chokes with inward wound. That is, that particular person blessed with a female child will become sad and dejected. So avoiding all people because of alleged evil of the glad tidings which he has received, and debating with himself, shall he keep this child despite the contempt which he feels for it? Shall he bury it in the dust? Oh, evil is whatever they decide. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made us realize the fact that the female children, they are never synonymous to evils. They are as good as men or male children. So that is what Islam has taught us. Even considering the issue of when we talk of the dowry in some human societies, so even we have seen in the culture of many societies like India, where the dowry will be paid to the groom. So unlike what is recommended in Islam, now when we now compare this, we realize that it is only Islam that has honored the female as wives. So they are the recipients of the dowry. So the bridal price will be given to the bride. So from the groom, that is the Islamic recommendation. That is the Islamic recommendation. So like that India society, we have many parts of the world where they have a lot of malpractices and oppressions against the women and the female children. So in Islam, we are made to realize the fact that both the men and the women, they are equal before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why the Holy Quran has even emphasized in Surah Al-Azab, the Holy Quran chapter 33, verse 35, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is even making it clear to us that Int'L Muslimin wal-Muslimat wal-Mu'minin wal-Mu'minat wal-Qanitin wal-Qanitat, using both masculine form and feminine form. So to tell us that we are the same. Allah ends that chapter by saying, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prepared for them forgiveness and a very great reward. So we have never seen in any place whereby we will see that this kind of reward will be better for the men, and this will not be given to the women. Because what a man does to a woman too can do that. So as far as Islam is concerned, the feminists, they want to try to tarnish the image of Islam by saying that Islam doesn't give room for women as far as education is concerned. I was wondering, we have a lot of references in the Islamic law, whereby we realize that women, they happen to be the custodians of knowledge. Where was Aisha, the dear wife of the Holy Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, who used to be consulted by the companions of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam? He has narrated over 2,000 prophetic traditions. So when the companions found things very ambiguous, they used to consult her, and she will explain everything to them. So women, right from the period of the early period of Islam, they had contributed in no small measure to the development of Islam. So in the Holy Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala even made reference to some women like Maryam, whereby he happened to be a devotee, to the extent that because of her, Zachariah, who has adopted her, was even appealing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with the blessings given to Maryam. so that he will be blessed with a child, because he discovered in her a lot of things very good. Because Mariam, the mother of Jesus Christ, happened to be a devotee, whatever, to the extent that she has even been given a lot of what we can call miracles. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala were to make the women prophets and messengers, I think Mariam would have been one of them. So Mariam would have been one of them. We have a lot of women who are very knowledgeable, even right from time immemorial till this particular time. So we have scholars in Islam, the women who have even memorized Quran, who are well grounded in the knowledge of Islam, Islamic jurisprudence, women who were well versed in multifarious fields of learning. So, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as far as the religion of Islam is concerned, He has asked us to seek knowledge, not discriminating between men and the women. So, and the first revelation given to the Prophet of Allah is connected with the acquisition of knowledge, education. And the Prophet ﷺ, who happened to be the recipient of this divine revelation, even commands all the adherents of Islam to seek knowledge. When he says, "Talabul ilmi, faridatun ala kulli Muslim," ala kulli Muslim, without discriminating. There is no gender discrimination there. So that is, it includes the female. So it is compulsory for us to acquire knowledge, but particularly the knowledge that has to do with how to worship Almighty Allah. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that "Fas'alu ala dhikri in kuntum la ta'lamun." You ask those who know if you do not know. Because we cannot pray, we cannot do all acts of ibadah with abysmal ignorance. Allah wants us to acquire knowledge. So, and in many verses, He has made reference to the fact that we cannot compare those who know with those who are in the dark. So, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us sound knowledge. We have, as I've said, when we consider them as daughters, we realize that they perform a lot of things that the male children also do. So, but we realize that the claim, what the feminists claim, so that Sharia or Islam does not honor the female, so it's something that is wrong. So it's something that is wrong. So in all ramifications, there is reason for everything as far as the religion of Islam is concerned. So because the feminists, they only base their arguments on their whims and caprices. So even those who they defend something that is not defendable. So they don't have any scriptural revelation so for their argument. So to the extent that even the so-called philosophers since time immemorial, like the Plato, Aristotle, and many others, so they even take women to be nothing. So they consider them to be slaves to the extent that in many societies, even if a woman, if the husband dies, so the wife too will be burnt to us. So along with the death of the husband. All this is what Islam has come to liberate the female from. So in all ramifications. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made us realize the fact that both men and the women, they are considered as vicegerents of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the surface of earth. Particularly, our origin came from the same source. So Adam happened to be our father, and Hawa happened to be our great-grandmother. So there is no modicum of discrepancy. So it only requires explanation to the enemies of Islam, those who want to tarnish the image of Islam. So, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Holy Quran, He has made reference to the fact that human beings we are the same. Ya ayyuhannas ittaqu rabbakum. Allah says, oh mankind, fear your Lord. Alladhi khalaqakum min nafsin wahida. The one that has created you from a single soul. And that was Adam. Wa khalaqa minha zawjaha. Then He created from him his wife. That was Hawa. Wabasa minhuma rijalan kathira. Out of these two bodies, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created a lot of men and women. So then Allah repeats that وَاتَّقُوا الَّذِي تَسَاءَلُونَ بِهِ وَالْأَرْحَامَ. To fear Allah, the one with whom you always appeal to one another, وَالْأَرْحَامَ, and the bonds of family. So إِنَّ اللَّهَ كَانَ عَلَيْكُمْ رَقِيبًا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is watching us. He sees whatever we are doing. So both men and women. What we know is that the primary assignment for every living human being issue includes both men and women. No discrimination. Should be worshiping Allah, and we realize that in almost all the act of worship, so we do everything in the same way. The feminists sometimes they still claim that why, when we talk of the idea of witness in the Sharia court, that why do we have two women representing, standing in the place of a man? So they believe that this one is also part of oppression. So that this is also part of oppression. Meanwhile, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who gave the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam the revelation, and the Prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who has explained the revelation to us, had made a lot of analysis concerning all these things that the human beings they consider as a form of oppression on the part of the women. We even have a situation whereby in the Sharia court, whereby only a single woman will be sufficient to stand as a witness in the issue that has to do with the females. In Islamic law, we have issues that are concerned with the female privacy. So when we get only one woman there, it's even sufficient to serve as a witness, because in that situation, the men do not have access to the privacy of the female. So we have a lot of things, and even in that aspect, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made provision of two women standing in lieu of a man. So the issue is concerned with business transactions. So business transactions, naturally, because of the nature of women, the assignment that is which has to do with the home management. So sometimes they might have been preoccupied, or they may even forget, so that the other woman may even assist anyone, the second woman who might have forgotten something. So there is reason for everything we do in Islamic law. We have Maqasid Sharia. We have Maqasid Sharia. What we must have at the back of our heart is that when we talk of Islamic law, it is God-made law. It is God-made law. Even the law goes beyond the capacity of the recipient of Quran, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So whatever he has practicalized for us, so he was being guided by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So there's no room for allowing people now to be saying that Islam has oppressed the female. So there's no room for that. Rather, Islam has come to liberate women, females from all forms of oppression. So women too, they can acquire education. They have right to education. They have right to inheritance, unlike it was before the emergence of Islam, whereby they will be numbered among the property and estate left by the deceased, who happen to be a man, or either husband or father. So Islam has come. Even if they now try to criticize that half of what our son or our man gets, so we have under the principles of inheritance too. There are some situations whereby the women, they have even something better than that of the men. So we have a lot of issues like that. So they have right to everything. So the issue of the feminists, they still even try to criticize. They try to criticize the suffrage concerning the right to vote. So the right to vote. So in Islamic law, there has not been any hindrance that there is nothing forbids the women from participating in voting, from voting. So they have right to vote, so they can vote. What Islam is looking for is the protection of the modesty of the women, so that there won't be a kind of bad things, there won't be a kind of malpractice. So because we realize that Islam is the only religion that has taken proper care of the female, women, wives, daughters. So there is no room for Islam does not want any harms to be done to the women. That's why the Prophet ﷺ has emphasized that as husbands, so we must behave well to the women. We must treat them like human beings. We should take proper care of them because we are all partners in progress. They are the mother of our children, so they take care of our home and they take care of our property. So the women, they should be taken proper care of. That is what Islam enjoins the adherents, is adherent. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us better Muslims. So we have a lot of rights. So the women too, they can work. So they can work. They can engage in business transactions. So they can work. So, but there is limitation to their work. When we have in some societies that do not consider religion as something, we have discovered some societies whereby the women will go out laboring, farming, engaging in hard works. So just in a way to bring source of materials as for the family. So meanwhile, it is this Islam that has now protected the image of the women so that they will not suffer. That's why Islam enjoys that they remain. So even if they go out, at the end of the day, they come home, so they should be taken proper care of. So they should not suffer. So that is what Islam is trying to protect. So that is what Islam is trying to protect. Allah says in the Holy Quran, to show that both men and women, we are equal. That in the Holy Quran, chapter 4, verse 124, that وَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِنَ الصَّالِحَاتِ مِنْ ذَكَرٍ أَوْ أُنْثَى وَهُوَ مُؤْمِنٌ فَأُولَٰئِكَ يَدْخُلُونَ الْجَنَّةَ وَلَا يُظْلَمُونَ نَقِيرًا. He says that anyone who performs good deeds, whether it be a man or woman, provided that he or she is a believer, shall enter paradise. And they shall suffer and no one shall suffer the least injustice. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He has said in many passages of the Holy Quran that He doesn't like the oppressors. He himself, He doesn't oppress, and He doesn't want anybody to oppress. That's why Allah says that وَلَكِنَّ النَّاسَ أَنفُسَهُمْ يَظْلِمُونَ. So it is we human beings that we oppress one another. And in Hadith, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is reported to have said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has forbidden oppression on himself. Then He has made oppression something forbidden among us, that we should never oppress one another. We should never oppress one another. So the issue about the position of women, as far as Islam is concerned, is that the religion of Islam has liberated women from all forms of oppression, right? Even before the birth, so to the period of the childhood, marriage, and so on. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not want us to do any harms onto the women. In the Holy Quran, even there are some facts that the feminists also they try to refer to. So that to the extent of saying that Islam oppresses the women, and that has to do with politics, particularly in the area of leadership. So in the area of leadership, so making reference, even when we try to read in the Holy Quran, as regards the story of Queen of Saba, who was there, we must realize the fact that the queen then with her people, they were idol worshippers. So they were worshipping the sun. So, but we realize that in the prophetic tradition, so the Prophet ﷺ is reported to have said in the Sahih Buhari that La yufliya qawmun wallahu amrahum muratan, that where we have the men and the women, so the women are not supposed to be made the head because of their natural disposition. So because of their natural disposition, that is the reason for that. We are not saying that when we talk of intellect, that we have a lot of women who are even better than the men. So, but this is what Islam, the Sharia, has laid down for us. And we will, if we are able to think deeply, we will get a lot of fact underneath that particular people will not prosper. So when they make their ruler to be a woman, is that Arijalu Qawwamuna 'ala Nisa, that the men, they are supposed to be the heads of the family, not because they are very powerful to wrestle the women, no, but bima fadu Allah ba'dahum 'ala ba'd, because of the intellect, the knowledge. They want the men who are the heads of the family to be guiding the women, trying to be enjoining them on the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it is the same men who are supposed to give dowry to their wives. So to their wives. So Allah knows the reason for doing everything. So whatever we human being, whatever we are doing, so we are all fallible. So it is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who is infallible. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Aza an takrahu shay'an wa huwa khairun lakum, wa aza an tuhibbu shay'an wa huwa sharrun lakum, wallahu ya'lam wa antum la ta'lamun. It's only Allah who knows better. We human beings, despite the level of our knowledge and intellect, so we are fallible. So we are fallible. So it goes beyond. Sometimes what the decisions made by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala go beyond human comprehension. We may go beyond human comprehension. So Islam now has come to liberate women so that they are not part of the property to be inherited. So rather, they are also part of those who are going to inherit property. So no matter the little difference in the share made in the distribution of the estate left by the dead person. So we must realize that even before, the women did not even enjoy anything. So rather, they were considered as ordinary objects, slaves, so and part of the estate left to be inherited. So it is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who has designed everything, and his judgment is the best. His judgment is the so Islam portray women as Satan, as portrayed, as described by many people, by many societies, even the so-called religions. So women, they are considered as source of pleasure on this earth and in the hereafter. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created us together to benefit one another. We can see the issue of nikah, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it a tradition for us that we can get married. So that if a man, the husband has been tired, so when he comes home, so he can have a rest with wife. So that is the essence. We are for one another. So we have some rights and duties to be performed. So we have common ones. Then we have some duties that are different. So in our life. So, but what we know is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has never oppressed anybody, be it a man or a woman. So if a man does good, he will be rewarded for that. If a woman also does good, he will be rewarded for that. So, and if a man does bad, so he will be given punishment for that. The same thing, woman. So there is no discrimination. There is no discrimination. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't make discrimination. And he has reason for everything that he has commanded us to do. So here on the surface of earth, so both men and women, we are the same in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah has said that inna akramakum indallahi atqakum. The only person honored by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who is conscious of it, who fears Allah. If a man fears Allah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward him. If a woman fears Allah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward her too. So without any modicum of discrimination. So both the men and the women, we are partners in progress. We are partners in progress. So as I have said, so in the issue of act of ibadah, we are the same. So when we talk of education, we are the same. We should all acquire knowledge. When we talk of inheritance, so we have right to inherit. So there is no way. So we have the right to inherit. In the issue of possession of properties, so the women too, they can possess property. So they can be wealthy. So they can transact business. They can acquire worldly materials. So like the men, no discrimination. So we are all equal beside Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that is what Islam is after. So, and the issue of even dowry that we have said, we realize that in the Holy Quran, in Surah Nisa, in the chapter of women, you don't even have the chapter of Rijal. So we have the chapter of women. So this is part of the honor given to the women. We have the chapter of women, under which are discussion of the dowry to be given to the women. It is emphasized. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَاتُوا النِّسَاءَ صَدُقَاتِهِنَّ نِيلَةً فَإِنْ تِبْنَ لَكُمْ عَنْ شَيْءٍ مِنْهُ نَفْسًا وَكُلُوهُ هَنِيئًا مَرِيئًا. That you should give the women, that is, the intended wives, their dowries, as a gift, as a personal gift to them. And if they please, they want to just to reduce your burden, they give you part of it, or they want to relieve you, you can take it. So you can take it. There is no problem. But we have never seen, Islam has never recommended that a man, that a woman will be given the woman, that a woman will be given the man dowry. So it obtains in many human society. So this is what Subhanahu wa Ta'ala has said. So, and he has made it point blank that even the issue of feeding the family, all these responsibilities are on the neck of the head of the family. So the wife, the husband should be giving them food, to be giving them clothing, so then accommodation. Even if the wife falls sick, so the husband should take care of the wife. So, and the husband should do well to the wife in every way. So in every way, as Allah says, وَعَاشِرُوهُنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. So try to live together with the women kindly. You should be kind to them. You should be treating them kindly, so politely. So never harm the women. So you should never harm the women, because Allah doesn't like oppression in any form. So women, they are the source of pleasure of this art. So and after so they are also all the faithful men. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala count us among the companions of paradise on the day of Al-Qiyamah. So may He grant us sound knowledge and show us the right path in all our day-to-day activities. Particularly, today is Friday. We pray Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept all the acts of our ibadah today. So may Allah spare our life to witness the Ramadan that is approaching.
Amen. Amen. Allah. Jazakumullah khairan, our doctor. That was Dr. ABDUL-MUMIN A. ALAWIYE, so the member of Sharia Committee, SAKI West Muslim Community, Oyo State, Nigeria. Thank you for coming to our show. Before I let you go, we have just less than 2 minutes to engage you on the questions. We have been receiving questions here, but because of our time, our limited time, so we'll just take like 2 questions out of all those questions being sent to us here. So the first question, sir, before I let you go, so they were talking about, can women be in any profession? So that person now made mention of, okay, a woman lecturing, in whereby we have a mixed sexes, like we have men and women in the classroom. Can women be in any profession? And so it's not specificating that, okay, in the lecturing field too. Can they? That's the first question.
Yes. Okay.
So should I go on with the second question, or I should just allow you to finish answer?
You can go.
Okay.
Go with the second question.
Okay. The second question. So as you said earlier on that women can have properties. So the question, the listener was asking the question like this, that so when you are talking about sharing formula in Islam, where men will take 2 proportions of women, where women will take 1, and men will take 2 proportion of the woman. Is it not biased according to Islamic perspective? That's the second question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome, sir.
The first question, which is concerned with the women serving as lecturers.
Oh.
To work as teachers, so they can teach. So because they know, and their knowledge is amane. When you know, you must teach what you know to the other people. What we must consider is the issue of the appearance of the woman before the class. You know, in Islamic law, we have the mode of dressing meant for the men and the mode of dressing meant for the women. So what Islam recommends, so is just to guard the woman's chastity. So a woman who is going to serve as a lecturer is not supposed to be dressed provocatively before the student, so that will not give room for sexual harassment. We have seen a lot of cases in the case of rape. So as a result of the way some women comport themselves, so in Islam, the women should dress modestly. So they should dress modestly. So even while talking or addressing the student, they should not try to feign their talk and discussions. That's why preferably we see in Islamic law that the women should use niqab, which is allowed in our society. So meanwhile, if they don't even cover the face, so that is not too bad. But they should dress in such a way that the clothes will be very loose, so not a very tightly one, so that will be creating a lot of evil thoughts in the minds of the men. So that is what Islam is trying to protect. So it is allowed for the women to work as teachers. So at any level. At any level.
The second question?
So there's nothing. The second question, which has to do with the share of the estate left. You know, what we know is that, you know, initially, women were numbered among the ordinary materials inherited. So with the advent of Islam now, it has made provision for them to share part of the estate left. So now that is the issue that is that the feminists have been questioning, that why should the female be given half of that of the male? There is reason for that. Assuming now, at the end of the family, we have 2 children of the same parent. When the father now dies, so the son, who happened to be ahead of the family, is married, so will be taking care of his family. If he is given now, assuming he is given 20,000, you know, he is married, taking care of his wife and the children. Then the daughter now given 10,000. She is also married, being fed by her husband. Who, when we examine these 2 things, we now realize that even the son who has been given double of that of the daughter can easily finish spending the money before that of the daughter, who is to be fed by our.
No. Hello. Hello. Sorry. Hello, doctor. Are you there, sir?
Hello.
Are you there, sir?
Yeah. Now you now realize that even it is possible for the women to make riches before the men. because a lot of responsibilities have been placed on the neck of the man. As the head of the family, he will feed the wife, the children, he will clothe the wife and the children, he will accommodate the wife and the children. So all this is what Islam recommends. So it's what Islam recommends. Now we now realize that now the daughter now will, even if the husband, if as a wife, if the husband dies, she will inherit from the property of the husband. When her father dies, she will also inherit from the property of the father. When you consider everything together, you realize that the women at the end of the day, they have greater share.
Yeah.
They have greater share. So the analysis made by some people is based on nothing. It's based on nothing. Islam has reason for that, even including the issue of the marriage. When we talk of the marriage, that's why does Islam allow the man to be taking more than one wife? So everything has reason. That they will be saying in the past that wala testati'u and tadilu, that you can never make justice. The justice referred here is not known to many people. So it has to do with emotion. So it has to do with emotion. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us aright.
Yeah, thank you very much, Doctor. Jazakumullah khairan. On behalf of the African Portal Radio TV International, South Africa, we say Jazakumullah khairan. We really appreciate your coming to our show to educate our people and to enlighten us about the religion of Islam. I hope next time if we call upon you, I hope you attend to us.
Inshallah. Thank you very much, sir.
Jazakumullah khairan. We send our regards to all the Muslim community, SHAKI West, your state, Nigeria. We say Jazakumullah khairan. And your family member and everybody, we say thank you very much for allowing them, for making it easier for you to come to our show. Really appreciate that. So on behalf of the African Portal, we say thank you very much for coming to show. Thank you. We really appreciate that. So that was the end of our show for the topic of today, that is women in Islam. Is it oppression or liberation? As you have heard a lot from our doctor, ABDUL-MUMIN, ALAWIYE, you will understand and you will have realized that women in Islam, they are not to be oppressed, but they are to be liberated. So in Islam, Islam protected the women. Islam protected their right and he gave them their right. So Islam does support liberation, not oppression of the women in Islam. So this will be the end of our show for today. We really thank you and our management, the management of the African Portal Radio TV International, South Africa. We say thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to be live today on Jumaat Tonic on the African Portal. Thank you very much, all our listeners, our followers on YouTube, on Facebook, on our website, on Instagram. We say thank you for joining us. Till next week, we're going to be bringing another interesting episode, lecture on Jumaat Tonic. I remain yours, Abdurrahman bin Abdul Karim Abu Mubina. Jumaat Mubarak.
World who are capable to achieve, and you will surely see with certainty females like Fatima al-Fihri, who opened the first ever university, Rufayda al-Islamiyya, the first nurse to perform surgery, and Aisha bint Abi Bakr, the greatest female scholar in eternity. It's a shame you probably haven't even heard of these great female prodigies. Honestly, we don't need to give up our modesty in order to be successful. For you are worth much more than a commodity that is sexual. You have so much more potential if only you knew your worth. You could be like the greatest of all women to have walked this earth, like Mary, the mother of Jesus. chosen by Allah to be an example for the believers, a woman who stood strong even when she was abused, falsely accused and ridiculed for things she'd never ever do, so it didn't really matter when there was nobody else beside her, for she knew that God was Ar-Razzaq and her ultimate provider, and she had to trust in Him alone. Just like Asiya, the wife of Fir'aun, a woman who was brave and courageous, stood up for what was right and didn't let anybody change this, a woman who was fearless and laughed in the face of death, for she gave up the riches of this life for a palace in the next. Next up, Khadija, the mother of the believers, a wealthy merchant who had nurtured the Prophet for over 25 years, his first wife, the love of his life, and the mother of his kids. She was the first to believe in him when nobody else ever did. She just is, beyond any words that can make you understand. So much so that even Allah sent her His salam. She was grand, and Allah assured her, just like her daughter, Fatima, the master of all women in paradise, a woman who would shine so bright she was nicknamed as Zahra, the splendid one with the most generous of hearts, a woman who gave up so much of her food she had no choice but to fast. She would fight on behalf of her father even as a little girl. And such are the examples of the greatest woman in the entire world. And it had nothing to do with how they looked, but for who they truly were. So ignore the standard of success defined by society, when God has said that the best of mankind are those who have piety, regardless of your shape, your color, or your race. For God does not look at your bodies, nor does He look at your face. Rather, He looks towards your heart and checks your faith. So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what the people say or who they think you are, when you could be like the greatest of all women in the eyes of Allah. The greatest woman